The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The country is expecting its first batch of vaccines from Chinese firm Sinovac to arrive tomorrow. We have Faith Del Mundo live from Quezon City to give us more details. Faith, what updates do you have on government preparations as to the arrival of vaccines?
Yes, Riza official says that we are all set to receive 600,000 China-donated Sinovac doses tomorrow. The MMDA has also provided its game plan to ensure the swift transportation of these shots. In today's Laging Handa briefing, Metro Manila Development Authority Chairman Ben-Hur Abalos Jr. says there is already a definite route for the transportation of the country's first vaccines from the port to storage facilities. Abalos says the doses will arrive at the Villamor Air Base in Pasay City and will be brought to Marikina in the Veterans Memorial Medical Center. However, Abalos did not disclose the vaccine-specific route. 6 40-feet containers vans will be deployed and escorted by personnel from the police force, the MMDA, and Highway Patrol Group. Towing and emergency vehicles will also be on standbys. And Health Undersecretary Rosario Berjere likewise assures that the country is ready to receive the doses. Berjere says that they had already conducted a simulation for the supposed arrival of Pfizer 2 weeks ago. She says Sinovac doses require freezing units with 2 to 8 degrees Celsius capacity, which most hospitals have. Sinovac General Manager Helen Yang confirms that the first delivery holds 600,000 doses. Abalos says he will be meeting with vaccine stars Carlito Galvez Jr. and BCDA head Vince Dizon about the vaccine's rollout plan. Meanwhile, the National Immunization Technical Advisory Group, or NITAG, and the Health Department's Technical Advisory Group both clarified that Sinovac doses can be administered to healthcare workers. This despite clinical trials in Brazil showing a 50.4% efficacy rate in preventing mild symptoms. Health officials stressed that the vaccine was found effective against moderate and severe symptoms, which means it can reduce morbidity and mortality. In the same briefing, Berjere says a master list of health workers who will be receiving the doses has already been prepared, adding that there is also a substitution list in case some of them refuse Sinovac shots. Risa asked for the shelf life of these vaccines. Berjere declined to disclose information, saying only Secretary Galvez Jr. and Health Secretary Francisco Duque are authorized to talk about it. Riza?
Thank you, Faith. That was Faith Del Mundo live from Quezon City. Now, more medical groups are criticizing health officials over their supposed double standards with the Sinovac COVID-19 vaccines, which are set to arrive tomorrow. In a joint statement, the Philippine Society of Pathologists and the Philippine Association of Medical Technologists said the Sinovac vaccine should be given to other healthcare workers like pathologists and medical technologists. The two groups describe their roles as very crucial in the hospital setting. The Lung Center, Amang Rodriguez Hospital, and the PGH are among the priority hospitals to receive Sinovac shots. Meanwhile, health workers at the Philippine General Hospital staged a protest demanding that the government provide them with a safe COVID-19 vaccine with high efficacy and efficiency. The PGH Physicians Association has also released a statement calling out that the vaccination plan should have been handled with more prudence and transparency. Now, here are other vaccine-related headlines we're keeping our eyes on. The country can expect 20 million doses of Moderna vaccines by the first half of the year, according to Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Locsin. Locsin said this is based on information from Philippine ambassador to the U.S., Babes Romualdez. He says an updated timeline on the delivery will be released soon. Now, a member of the DOH Technical Advisory Group says there is no evidence yet supporting the use of different vaccine brands for vaccination will increase efficacy. Speaking to One News, the chief's Dr. Edsel Salvania said individuals should stick to the vaccine of their choice or whichever brand they were first administered with. He says mixing vaccines may even be harmful. And the US FDA is expected to decide on the emergency use bid of Johnson & Johnson for its coronavirus vaccine this weekend. This comes after a panel of outside advisors supported the American Pharmaceuticals one-shot vaccine. Johnson & Johnson expects to provide enough supply to vaccinate 20 million people by the end of March once it gets the green light from regulators. And we'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Authorities have now identified the suspects in the murder of Mabuhay Zamboanga Sibugay Vice Mayor Restituto Calonge. In an interview here on One News, Police Captain Edwin Duco of PNP Region 9 said that they conducted interviews with bystanders and were able to confirm who the suspects are. Duco, however, said that the suspects are not yet in custody after they fled using a motorcycle. The police captain then connected the murder with Calonge being the vice mayor of the province.
They used an XRA motorcycle as their getaway, and then it took the investigation several hours before those assailants were identified. So they have left the area and hide in the hinterlands of Zamboanga, Sibugay province.
Now, in the name of economic recovery, there are now less non-working holidays for the year. President Rodrigo Duterte signed the Friday Proclamation 1107 declaring November 2 or All Souls Day, December 24 or Christmas Eve, and December 31st, New Year's Eve as special working holidays. The distinction between a special non-working and a working holiday is the rate of pay an employee gets if he or she reports for work. Those working on special non-working holidays are entitled to an additional 30% of their daily rate on the first 8 hours of work. They will also receive 30% more of their hourly rate for overtime duty. But those working during the special working holiday will only be receiving his or her basic rate. There is no premium pay because these days are considered similar to ordinary working holidays. Now, Duterte's proclamation said shifting these 3 days to special working holidays would help the country recover from the impact of the pandemic. The U.S. Justice Department said it would investigate the growing number of racially motivated attacks against Asian Americans. U.S. officials note an unprecedented rise of hate crimes against Asians in America since the start of the pandemic and since former President Donald Trump referred to COVID-19 as the China virus. Some PhilAms in the U.S. have also experienced racially motivated assault and discrimination. This comes after the death of a PhilAm Navy officer, Angelo Quinto, after police knelt on his neck, similar to the case of George Floyd. Now, for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.